So, windows. Last but not least, windows. How are we going for time? 10 minutes? Oh, that's pretty good. I have time for questions once I talk about windows. So basically, that's, sorry, another drawing, but that's a drawing straight out of the building code. And that shows a window installed flush, overlapping the cladding, and that's how we do it, because that's how we're told to do it by the building code in this country. So the problem with that is this is the weatherboard, this is the jib board, so you know the drainage and ventilation cavity, you know, I was talking about the solar wall. That's where our window's sitting. So that's got cold air in it all day, every day, and it can have moisture in it. And that's where our window's sitting. So the pink is the warm part of the wall where our insulation is. So we can do that. It's standard practice overseas, European countries, to recess the windows. So we recess the window into the wall, so it's in the warm part of the wall. We used UPVC window frames, and we used high performance glass. Our windows are 3 to 4 times the performance of double glazed aluminium windows. So aluminium windows are a really seldom used product overseas, but we're a bit of an oddity in New Zealand. 95% of our windows are aluminium. But things are changing. There's a major manufacturer of aluminium windows who have set up a factory in Christchurch to make PVC windows. And they're much, much better. So if you look closely at an aluminium window, there's a drainage channel at the bottom, the little graveyard for dead flies and place where the mould gathers at the bottom of the window frame. So that's because the window will have condensation on it. Condensation occurs where the cold meets the warm, and that glass is exactly where the cold meets the warm. But if you look closely at that channel at the bottom, there's holes drilled in it for the condensation to drain outside. So you could do, this is what I say about, you know, you've got to think about everything together. You know, you could do thicker insulation in your roof, you could do thicker walls with insulation, you could do a fully insulated slab. If you don't do something, do your windows properly, then there's a hole in the bucket, basically. You could do a nice warm energy efficient house and still have holes drilled through your aluminium window frames to the cold air outside. That is standard practice in New Zealand. So the other things, there's a heavily recessed window, sort of European style, with a purpose-made flashing. So we're doing this now. This is what we did in the 10-star home. We recessed the window. That's a picture of the 10-star home there. So anyway, windows, I see them as a hole in the wall. So they're a tenth of the thermal value of the wall. So that's how you need to think about them. So don't have too many windows. Don't have any on the south side if you can manage it, because there's never going to be any sun coming in there. So the orientation and proportions of the windows are critically important. But other than that, what are the windows? In New Zealand we don't have triple glazing. We have double glazing. In Europe, triple glazing is standard. If you want double glazing, it's more expensive because they don't do it. It's a special order. So here, the double glazing has a skinny gap between the glass. So first of all, we need to do a bigger gap. There's also a piece of aluminium, standard, all the major glazing companies. So you want a piece of plastic there, you want a piece of aluminium, because that's thermal conductor. You know, great if we want a solar wall and get the heat through, but not good for our windows. So Thermex spacer, it's not expensive, but you don't get it unless you ask for it. PVC frames, much better, non-conductive. The best advancement in windows is low E, so 30% better performance. Low E is a coating on the inside of the double glazing. So there's 3 levels of low E. We use the top one, low E itself. Argon doesn't do a heck of a lot, but it's cheap, so we do it. 10% better performance. So our windows are 0.7. A good PVC window is 0.5, 3. A typical double glazed aluminium window is 0.26. I actually think because we've recessed them, which is critically important, putting the window in the warm part of the wall is much better than that. It's probably more like 1. Anyway, we talked about air tightness, so I'll skip over that. we blow a door test with our 10 down home. It was 2.8 air changes, so it was just within the European standard. New Zealand is 10. But we're learning, we're doing better next time. We didn't use the internal wraps on that job, but we're using the internal wraps going forward. There's a lot to think about. Thanks very much everybody. There's a website with information on it. You're welcome to come and have a look at these houses if you ever get up to Christchurch.
So you're going to have another one of those?
Yeah, we're repeating the Exemplar Homes tour in May next year, and we're also doing it in Auckland and Wellington. So we've launched the Superhome movement in Auckland and Wellington. And are there any designers or builders in this room? Right, okay, I'm looking for people to launch the Superhome movement. Otago. Oh, we've got an architect in Otago.
Yeah, structure, because it was a 2.5 day home there, structure.
Yeah, great. They're the way of the future.
We've got PVC windows, and I think we've built it out with recycling. I think we're really we have no system using.
Yeah, well, I think PVC it's not a particularly environmentally friendly thing, but when you look at it in context with what it's doing for you, it is. It's a bit like concrete. Concrete's a pretty nasty material, uses lots of energy, but if you've got thermal mass in your building, it'll really pay off over time. So the amount of energy you use through the life of the building is many times over what you'll use in producing the concrete.
But what about PVC? I mean, in Europe they've got recycling systems for recycling frames.
Yeah, we don't have that, unfortunately.
Thank you. About structurally insulated panels, what about toxicity, like one product versus another?
Yeah, I like natural materials. Those panels there, we made whole wall sections rather than making individual modules, and we just put them on the truck, put them to the site. They were made from LVL timber, plywood, wall insulation with the wall sheet wall.
Yeah.
And then we had the good airtight wraps, some people don't like polystyrene. It's kind of it's used a lot in the building industry because it's a cheap insulation material. There's probably nothing wrong with it, but there are other considerations. If you're thinking about the sort of environmentally sound materials that you're using, there's a bunch of choices.
Like mag rock, they could do the full level on the ceiling level, so they're very click. But that's all polystyrene.
Yeah, we've done 3 mag rock houses, but our system of choice now is the plywood, timber, wall insulation.
But you get that very specific.
Yeah.
So that adds to the cost.
A little bit. It's not surprisingly little compared to conventional construction, but it will be slightly more.
Did you learn anything with the slag fall from earthquakes? I can imagine if you've got an earthquake which is like a wave, you've got a solid piece of concrete that's going to buckle and bend and crack out basically.
We've learnt shitloads after earthquakes. And the slabs that we're doing now with the raft slabs or waffle slabs, designed specifically for that. Yeah. It's going to be quick. It's going to be finished fairly shortly, but I'm not sure about that. So we need to ask the client.
What do you reckon it's time we started moving insulation outside the structural frame, and so the dew point as that moisture moves in and out of the frame?
It's where it should be. Yeah.
Is that what you're doing with your plywood system, or are you still putting your backs up the inside the frame?
Yeah. Well, the houses we're doing now, we're doing with the panel house. We've got a cavity which is sealed airtight with the membranes for insulation, and then we've got a cavity inside that for the services, for plumbing, electrical. some of the best houses we've done are actually insulated concrete panel houses. So there's a sandwich panel, there's a small skin of concrete on the outside, then there's the insulation, and then there's a larger structural skin on the inside. Those are brilliant houses because they have a lot of thermal mass, and if it's designed well, all the junctions are designed with no thermal bridging. They're some of the best performing houses that
How do
we've
you
done.
get moisture out of the house which gets created by normal?
You need a ventilation system. So in any airtight house, you need a ventilation system.
And how do they deal with, if you're pumping air in, if you're doing heat recovery, how do you deal with the humidity level, which when it change, which you pumping humid air in?
The air inside is always more. There's more moisture in the air inside the house than
Sometimes
outside the house.
it'll be wetter outside, you'll have a higher humidity level outside than you will inside in this environment.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because they don't have generally dehumidification systems with those heat recovery systems.
Yeah, I think I think generally because you're moving the air, you're taking the moisture out of the house. You know, it's probably something
You're
that
pumping air in the different high humidity, which happens here, that's very high, and that's stuff from damp
but
coal.
I mean, it's probably getting a bit technical, but you know, it might be a good idea to talk to a heating ventilation expert.
Yeah,
But the thing is, if the air is warmer, the relative humidity can be higher, so the warmer air can hold more moisture than colder air. So that's how condensation works. So basically, if the temperature inside the house is warmer, you're going to get more potential to hold that humidity, and also more drying because you're heating the house. Is there any other questions? Thank you very much.
If you were doing that, what would you like to see in the rules for like the maximum strength like this?
I think
Plywood?
yeah, plywood's great for that.